What we want to take a look at now is how we can generate this hello button. Now, if we take a close look at it, everything that is being used to create this content can be reproduced using CSS. There's a subtle gradient in the background. We know we can produce that using CSS. There's a border. Looks like there's a subtle text shadow effect applied to hello. All these things can be applied through CSS, and of course its position can be controlled through CSS. So there's no need to export out any graphics from Photoshop. So what we want to do is come over to our editors, and inside of our editor, what we want to do is just make sure that we understand the structure. We have this paragraph element that is referencing the category class, and if we come over to the index.html file, we're specifically targeting this area here, but you'll notice that there's an anchor element. So what we're going to do is we're going to write an even more specific selector here. I'm going to go ahead and copy the top portion of that declaration. I'm going to paste it. I'm just going to add an anchor element to that. So we're getting pretty specific here. And what we want to do is generate that background gradient. So as you know, the best and easiest way to generate one of those gradients is to use a service like ColorZilla. And the gradient is pretty basic. We have a white color stop over here on the left, and then a very, very faint gray over here on the right. There's nothing in the middle, so if you have a middle stopper, you can go ahead and remove it. So what we want to do is come over and select this first stop, and we want to set its color to white. Now, we can do that by mixing the RGB channels. We're going to type in 255 for red, green, and blue. You'll notice that creates a pure white. Go ahead and click OK. After doing that, what we want to do is then specify the color value for the second stop. So if you go ahead and click it to activate its inkwell, click on the inkwell to open up this dialog box. We're going to go ahead and set its RGB values to 244. And like I said, it's a very subtle gray color with a slight blue hint to it. So you can go ahead and click OK. It generates the gradient color for you. What we want to do is copy this code. So inside the CSS section, go ahead and click the copy button. Once you copy it, it's stored to the clipboard. You can return back to your editor and paste that code inside of that new selector that you created. Now, after you paste it, we're going to remove the filter property like we've been doing all along. And I'm also going to select all these background properties here and tab over. And if you want, you can click and drag this over to the right to collapse these panels a little bit more, giving you a little bit more room. This obviously is going to generate the background color for the button. What we need to do next is establish a padding property. So go ahead and type in padding, and we're going to set the padding to 6 pixels. Then we're going to assign 15 pixels. After 15 pixels, we're going to go with 5 pixels, and then we're going to go with 15 pixels. And you may or may not know this, but some people like to think of the word trouble, giving you top, right, left, and bottom values for the padding. After doing that, we're going to assign a border property. So go ahead and type in border. Again, we're going to use some shorthand notation here. We're going to set it to 1 pixel in terms of its thickness. The style will be solid. And after setting the style, what we want to do is set the color. And the color in this case is going to be pound E7, 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 which is a blue-grayish color. Now that we have the border in place, we want to work with font properties. So I'm going to go ahead and type in font. And the font type will be set to normal. After setting the type to normal, the size is going to be 11 pixels. And then we want to add some line height there of 16 pixels. And then we're going to use Arial Helvetica Sans Serif for the font family. Then we want to add a text shadow. So go ahead and type in text-shadow. And for the text shadow, we're going to type in 0, 2 pixels, 0, and then the color, which is going to be pound FFF. And again, if you're not familiar with the shorthand notation associated with the text shadow, that's something I cover in greater detail in our CSS courses here on the website. So here we have the text shadow. After that, we want to set the text decoration. And we're going to set the text decoration to none because we don't want an underline. Remember, it is in fact a hyperlink. And then we want to establish the margin properties. So we're going to type in margin. We're going to go 0, 0, 0, 17 pixels. And again, that represents top, left, right, bottom. So 17 pixels on the bottom. And then we want a color. And the color, again, this will be essentially the text color. It's going to be 999. So again, a darker gray color. So the only other thing that we need to really do is maybe consider adding a hover state to this, which is fairly straightforward. Again, I'm just going to copy the name of this selector. I'll scroll down a bit and I'll paste it. After pasting it, you want to add the hover pseudo selector to the anchor element. And all we want to do here is just change the color. So I'm going to go ahead and type in color, and I'm going to set it to black, which is 3 zeros. So that should just about do it. If you go ahead and save the style sheet file, you can come back to the index page. And inside the index page, you can go ahead and take a look at this in your WebKit-based browser. And there you see the Hello button. And again, if we want to come back to the PSD file to compare, you'll notice it looks pretty much the same. So we're moving right along here. We're in pretty good shape. I'm happy with the appearance of the Hello button. What we want to take a look at next is how we can go about creating the other elements within the page section, such as this text, this slider over here, this image slider, and of course, these 3 buttons down here towards the bottom. So almost done with the top portion of the page container.